Rec League Podcast. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell your haters. Available on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Breaker, and Stitcher. At Rec League Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. At Rec League Pod on Twitter. Episode 22 coming soon. Yo, whether you watching this from Facebook, Twitter, click the link in my Instagram, or YouTube itself. What up, world? So, I just watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It is the new movie directed by Quentin Tarantino. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Emile Hirsch, Margaret Qualley, Al Pacino, Damian Lewis, Bruce Dern, Mike Moe. There's a lot of characters in this movie, man. Kurt Russell, Zoe Bell. But some of them pop up for a scene or two, and then they're gone. So honestly, this movie is really DiCaprio, Pitt, Robbie, Qualley, and Emile Hirsch. And like I said, it's directed by Quentin Tarantino. He has directed everything you see behind me, except for two, but he's involved in those two. Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill, Death Proof, Inglourious Basterds, Django Unchained, and Hateful Eight. If you want to get a shout out in my review of Hobbs and Shaw, stay tuned to the end of the video to figure out how you can do that. So you got Leonardo DiCaprio. He plays Rick Dalton. And, you know, he's an actor, you know, going through his career, ups and downs, more downs than ups as of when we, you know, meet up with this character. And Brad Pitt plays his stuntman, Cliff Booth. They're tight. They're more than friends. They look out for each other. Brad Pitt does a little more of the looking out. And based on next door neighbors, hitchhikers that might get rides, executives that end up looking out for certain careers, There are ups and downs and some eventful moments within the place taking of this plot. And Quentin Tarantino is hands down far and away my favorite director. I was telling the homies earlier, man, like as much as I love Christopher Nolan, as much as I love Martin Scorsese, they're gonna be my 2 and 3. Denis Villeneuve, M. Night Shyamalan are in the mix too. I've given some movies of theirs lesser ratings than I've given my least favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. You just like the dialogue is crazy. It's always there, like the dialogue pops. It's always delivered like masterfully. There's like no weak performances in Quentin Tarantino movies. And like the characters are always interesting. It doesn't matter what's going on. Like there's always something interesting, man. And you know, being late 1960s Hollywood, like the cinematography, the scenery is all beautiful, man. This is a beautiful looking movie. DiCaprio kills it. He's like the complete opposite, in my opinion, of his character from Django Unchained. You gotta see Django if you don't know what I'm talking about. Brad Pitt definitely isn't an Aldo Rain character, but I love what he was doing. He's just living the life. Brad Pitt is low-key the scene stealer in a lot of this movie. Like, they are the main characters. It's their movie. Everybody else in this movie is a supporting character. You know, it's based on and or around actual events. So I think the one complaint, like this got like a festival release or something in like May or in the spring sometime, and there were instant complaints about Margot Robbie's screen time. She gives a dope performance. She's one of my favorite actresses, but it's not her movie. She's a supporting character, and I love how the character was utilized. You know, like dope performances from Al Pacino. Margaret Qualley is getting a lot of Twitter love. She was an interesting character too. And you know, I don't want to go into anything that might be spoilerish. I will say that there is like it's a good like from start to like maybe the last like half hour or so. It's a good, interesting movie. Like I said, cinematography, acting, script, characters, dialogue, all great. But I'm not losing my mind over this movie. The third act, like I said, the last like 20, 30, 45 minutes of this movie, it cranks up a notch. It turns into like Tarantino really puts his stamp on this movie. And be prepared, like go in with an empty bladder. It's a long one. Hateful Eight, Django Unchained, and Glorious Bastards type long. The only short movies that Tarantino's really made, I think Reservoir Dogs was around 2 hours, but both Kill Bill movies are split because it's one long story split into two, and then obviously Death Proof isn't that long because it was a double bill for the Grindhouse release. And then, yeah, like Kurt Russell pops in, his character's name is Randy. The Mike Moe as Bruce Lee was very dope. My hands are registered as lethal weapons. If I accidentally kill you, I go to jail. Like, that was my favorite scene from the trailers. It's called manslaughter. If you accidentally kill anybody in a fight, you go to jail. That's not the scripted scene, but you know what I'm getting at. But yeah, like I really liked this movie. And then the end just put it over the top, man. Like, I loved this movie. As you can see, it was one of my most anticipated of the year. It deserved placement on that list, and I was happy with what I saw, man. Like, I feel like I'm forgetting to say something, and I don't know what, because DiCaprio was great. Pitt was great. There's a cool dog. The end was low-key mind-blowing. Supporting cast was dope. And like there's a decision that's made within the movie as far as execution, plot details, what happened within the movie that I thought was real cool on Tarantino's part. So with all that being said, man, in my opinion, I will say that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is dope as fuck. Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? What'd you think about it, man? Positive, negative? Somewhere in between, let me know. What's your favorite Tarantino movie, man? He's done 9 movies. You can rank his whole filmography since it's not that long. Give me your favorite, top 3, top 5, whatever you want to do, man. If you want that shout out in my Hobbs and Shaw review, how much will Once Upon a Time in Hollywood make opening weekend, man? Be the first, be the closest, get your guesses in by noon Central Time Sunday, and you get shouted. I recently posted a review for The Lion King, for Crawl, for Stuber, and Spider-Man. Check those out. Like I said, Hobbs and Shaw next weekend. The weekend after Hobbs and Shaw, I think that's when Good Boys comes out. Or The Kitchen. Or I don't know, like I know it comes out in August, but I'm not sure on release dates. But I will review something. Rec League Podcast episode 22 is coming in the next day or so. We're going to do some Comic-Con recap, probably talk about some Big Crit, maybe that Nas Lost Tapes too, man. Like, subscribe, comment. Find me where you find me, man. Don't know where to find me. Watch these credits. Peace.